Welcome back, everyone. I'm Chase.
I'm Christian.
We are the RMFantasy SXperts here for round 5 of the RMFantasy SXperts show. Thanks for tuning in to watch or listen if you're on the podcast.
That's right.
Now, round 4 is in the books. Oakland has come and gone. Some pretty exciting things happened.
It was standard round.
Standard round, but let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. Here it is. This is our race recap. All right, so round 4, it is come and gone. Oakland, pretty wild round. Well, not so wild, but there are some good moments. So results-wise, we got Cooper Webb, second one in a row.
Back-to-back's a B word, he said, I heard.
First two-time winner this year. Marvin Muscan, second place. Blake Baggett, strong podium. And then Eli Tomac, fourth place. Ken Roxon, who's gotten worse every round, fifth place. Justin Barcia landing the wild card.
Second wild card of the year.
Really?
He's taking it in 6th and 7th this year. So.
Well, he was my saving grace.
He saved stats and lats, that's for sure.
Yeah, any highlights you want to share?
Well, the flashes and crashes from both Savacci and Plessinger were pretty wild. I mean, they both got good starts. They were up there. Plessinger lost it over that wall jump.
Yeah, hit the
I
eject
had
button.
him in my 5th place. It hurt me.
Savacci didn't really crash. His bike had a problem.
Yeah, he had an issue. And
mentally, he probably crashed, though. It's probably pretty bad. You can't forget Justin Bogle looping out in the whoops.
Yeah, that was crazy.
He made a pretty funny Instagram post about it. But we now know that KTM makes a very strong rear fender.
Oh, it lasted.
It lasted. Yeah. It survived. But it was pretty wild to see. But how we do on points?
Oh, stats and lats. You saved us again this week, bringing in 38 points. I brought 20, so... We're up to 200. Jim and Daniel sitting at 164.
Ooh.
So a little bit of a lead. I'm still not comfortable with it yet.
That's all right.
But round 4 user stats, the averages were still down. We've been between 20 and 23 all year.
Still no perfect scores.
No perfect scores this year yet.
So 22 average was the points this week.
If you have 88 points is the average overall. So if you're over that, you're doing good. If you're not, you need to pick it up.
Kind of interesting, though. Webb was only picked by 2.17%.
Up from 0.33. I thought it might have went down.
Okay.
So when he won 2 weeks ago, he was only picked by 0.33. This week jumped up to 2.1, so people are having faith in him.
All right.
Tomac and Roxon both, though, overwhelmingly took the first place picks. They both got picked 42% of the time.
Dang.
And
wildcard wasn't too bad.
No, if you left Barcia in there.
4.6% of players got it right, which is a little over 3,000.
About the average for the year, yep.
Okay.
And 27% got one pick right, so.
So not an amazing round, but we're still, I think, a little bit below last year, and I'm still waiting to see that perfect score, but with how things have been, and with San Diego, which we're about to talk about, we're going to look at that forecast because it could shake things up again. But as far as injuries go going into this next round, Justin Barcia, I think he'll be just fine. Obviously, he's got the bruised tailbone.
He'll be better than he was.
Yeah, Anderson obviously is still out with the broken arm. Malcolm Stewart broke the leg.
Osborne's looking to come back Minneapolis, I heard.
That's what I heard too. And then Benny Blas, who is going to be calling into the show here a little bit later, gives us an insight. He is also out with that knee injury. But there it is, those are your results. But let's talk about San Diego. A lot to talk about. Here it is. This is Track Trends.
So going into San Diego, before we get into it, we have a new offer code exclusive to the SXperts out there. Make sure you wait. We'll give it out later in the show.
Yes, do not miss out.
But San Diego.
Okay.
A lot of people's favorite round, military appreciation. Want to take a minute, thank the past, present,
future
people out there that served our country, including my brother overseas right now.
Ooh,
Come back safe and soon.
And you can see American flag in the background.
That's right.
America, I like it. Now, for this week, here's what you need to know. Right now, if you look at the forecast, they're saying 100% chance of rain.
An inch of rain.
An inch of rain.
It's going to be a lot of rain.
I've heard different stories. Some say, oh, the rain's supposed to let off during the evening time. All I know is I would just prepare for, say, an Anaheim 1.
Yeah, similar.
That's
where I'm going.
Okay, so that's what you need to know. But looking at the track, I'm not excited about this weekend's track. Are you?
It seemed really small.
Not a lot of 180 turns. There are back-to-back whoop sections, but just looking at it, the lap times seem like they're going to be really down or really short.
Yeah.
So I'm actually glad there's going to be some moisture in the air because I think that'll kind of mix it up, slow things down a little bit because the track to me looked really basic. I don't know what you guys think. If you've seen it, leave us your thoughts about it. But if we go back to 2018 highlights in San Diego, what do we got there? That's when Roxon
That's when his emotions got the best of him. He got into it with Webb, ended
Yep.
his season. So we definitely don't want to see that again this year.
Tomac DNF'd last year. Seeley led for a bit, but then ended up having a little crash where then Anderson, Musquin, and Baggett all podium last year in San Diego.
Yep.
But yeah, so we'll talk a little bit more about mud races and who's done well over the years in those conditions. But first, we got to talk about it. Let's get our top contenders up here on the table for those top 5 slots. Here's our top contenders. All right, so for this week's contenders, we have on the table Cooper Webb, Ken Roczen, Eli Tomac, Marvin Musquin, Justin Barcia.
The most picked, the highest point standings in the championship. I mean, where do you start with Webb? What do you got?
Well, Webb, we've seen it back-to-back wins, but you got to remember going back to Anaheim 1. Not only is he on a roll with the confidence, but Anaheim 1, he about pulled the whole shot, went down, but it was muddy. He charged back to 5th place. And if you go back, if you look at Webb's previous mud races, he's actually a good mud racer.
You wouldn't think it was because he's short.
No, in Seattle last year, which was a mud race, he got 5th, and then he got 8th in Seattle in 2017. And then both of those finishes were better than his season average. So I look for Webb to do really well this weekend.
I like that. Plus, his last 4 gate drops he started second or better. Like his starts are figured out. He's led the most laps of the season. He's led 38 out of 103 possible laps.
Now, Roczen, you know what's crazy to me? Roczen has gotten 1 spot worse each race. The man has led 19 laps without winning a race, not even a Triple Crown.
I know, it's weird.
What do you think he's going to do in the mud? He rode well at Anaheim 1.
I definitely don't think he's going to take 6th. I think he's going to do better than 6th. I don't think he continues that trend. It's a weird trend, but...
Okay, so you have better than, in the top 5 still this weekend.
I have him in my top 5, no doubt. I mean, he's tied with Tomac with the best average overall finish on the season at 3.5. And he has the second best average start per gate drop at 4.3. So he's, I don't know, playing it safe. I think everybody is kind of letting the points settle out, see what they have to do in the second half.
What about Tomac? So Tomac actually won Seattle last year in the mud. So we know he's a good mud rider. If you look at outdoors in 2018, he won, a couple of the mud races. So I still put Tomac
you
right
made a
up there.
last-minute change and put him in first. Why did you do that last week?
Hey, you can't judge because I put Musquin in second and got that right.
I know, but what made you do that? That's what
my
I want
heart.
Okay.
The heart.
I'm in the same boat. I don't know what to do. I don't feel right not putting him in first place, but I think this race might be the first time I don't put him in first. You don't put him in?
What about Musquin?
I'm liking this man a lot right now. I mean, the Mathilde cooking is on point, I'm sure, as well as his starts. I mean, he's had 2 straight top 5 finishes, or 3, and he has the best average start per gate drop this year at 3.5. He's only 4 point back in the championship, but he hasn't won a race, he hasn't led a lap, and he hasn't got a whole shot.
He hasn't led a lap?
In no race this year, so it's weird, other than heats.
That's weird. Now, for our A1 winner, Justin Barcia, everyone knows he is a mud rider.
Yeah.
So
he's a little banged up.
He's a little banged up, but he got 7th last week. Not a bad showing for coming back injured. So I think Barcia, he's a good top 5 candidate.
I think so. If he can ride hurt at 7th, I definitely think he's going to be in better shape this week.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it levels the playing field a little bit if you do have a wet, sloppy track.
Yeah. One thing with him though, hasn't made the top 5 in qualifying worse than 9th this year. So if he's back there in qualifying, maybe watch him a bit.
Oh, so if he qualifies worse than 9th, he hasn't made the top 5. Okay, good to know. Well, there it is. Those are our top contenders. A couple stats to help you guys out if you're kind of figuring out where to put these guys in your picks. But now let's get into it. We've got to talk about those guys who might potentially crack the top 5. This is our weekly spoilers. All right, so for this week, our weekly spoilers, we have on the table Aaron Plessinger, Dean Wilson, Cole Seeley, Joey Savacci, Blake Baggett. What do we do with Baggett?
You know one of them's going to do it. They do it every week.
Yeah, but Baggett, though. Look, spit out some of his numbers, and then we'll kind of throw up a question mark here.
I mean, he's finished at least 11 spots different every round this year. So if the trend continues, he might not be a good choice.
12-1-15-3, but he's not known for rain or mud.
No, so I have to see the condition of the track.
If it's raining, If it's muddy, different story.
Yeah.
So I'm not confident right now to put him in my top 5 if you have muddy conditions.
Yep, I agree. Savacci, the guy's a wild child. He can be anywhere. He got a good start last week, had an issue.
Won his heat race, though.
Won a heat race. He was looking confident, looking good.
So
he might want to bounce back strong.
Yeah. Cole Seeley, my boy. So Cole Seeley, fastest qualifier, second qualifying session last week. He was running good in the main event. I think he was going to finish in the top 5. Had that little incident in the sand. But Cole Seeley, he is bound to finish in the top 5.
He hasn't made the top 5 yet, and that shocks me. So
but he will.
It's gonna happen soon.
All right. How about Dean Wilson here?
Dean Wilson quietly. I mean, with his merch and all,
steady.
He's been in the top 5 twice. He's finished in the top 5 in 2 of the 3 rounds. He's qualified in the top 10.
Yep.
So watch where he's qualifying. Might have something there. And his overall finishes, he hasn't taken the same spot twice. He's kind of
4, 8, 5, 6 are his last
he's
4
all
races.
over the map. So, but he hasn't started worse than 8th in a standard round.
But
and
he
he took the whole shot and led 14 laps in A1. So he's a strong pick.
Yes, he did.
Aaron Plessinger, I think the rain and mud helps him a bit. What do you think?
I think the rain and the mud favors those Yamaha boys. Barsh is we talked about him being in the top 5. So I think Plessinger, last weekend, he was running up in the, around the top 5 or 6th to 7th until he had that little crash, but he's running good.
Yep.
Finished 6th at A1 in the mud. So we know this guy can ride in the mud if he just gets to start, which in the standard rounds haven't been too bad.
He started top 5 in 2 of the 3.
So there you go. Which rider do you think will crack the top 5? That might not be one of those, pretty common choices, but especially this weekend with the mud, if there is some, could really shake things up. So I'm pretty excited to see how it plays out.
I like it.
All right, this week, wild card, what is it?
13th place.
Let's get into it. Wild card watch. All right, so for this week's wild card, 13th place. There's some riders in here that I would have never expected to start out this year.
It's not pretty, but
It's not.
It's the way it is.
Statistically, this is kind of where you got to really make your decision wisely here. Vince Freezy. This guy has finished 12th and 13th 2 times this year.
Yeah, he's just going back and forth.
Yeah. What about Bowers?
Bowers, he finally got a good race under his belt last week, finished 12th. I don't know, I kind of have a feeling about Bowers this week.
All right. Chad Reed, we were chastised early in the year for saying, why aren't we putting him in our top 5? But the stats don't lie. He's finished 14th to 13th this year, and he hasn't gotten to start better than 12th in a standard round.
Yeah, that's something to be concerned.
He's okay in the mud, but those are the stats.
That's just it. It's not personal. It's fantasy.
It's not my heart. Those are stats.
That's right.
Okay.
Justin Hill, your guy.
No, he's not. He's my biggest disappointment of the season is what he is. He's not my guy.
I mean, he's finishing all over the place. 15th, 13th, 11th, 14th. So his average finish is 13.25. With a few injuries out there, he could easily slide up.
God, I still cannot believe that Justin Hill is doing that poorly this year.
I'm sure he'll get it together by, the end of this year, but right now it's just it's a little wild. So then we got Bogle, speaking of wild.
Yep. Yeah, sticking fenders in the ground. I really don't know where exactly he's going to end up. He's kind of been all over the map. But if Justin stays on 2 wheels and stamina-wise, because we know he's not in total race shape, 13th might not be a bad spot. And then if you are going statistically, if you take away Savacci's DNF from last week, he's also finishing 13th on average.
16th and 8th, so he could be on either side of the spectrum. So
there it is. But Savacci definitely for me is not a good pick for wild card, but those are the stats on him.
Yeah.
But there it is. Those are some of the top contenders, if you want to call them, for the wild card spot this week. Going off of stats, who do you guys think is going to grab that 13th spot? Because it has saved me this year, the wild card. You've got to do it a couple times throughout the year if you want to have a good season.
I need one wild card to die happy.
All right, well, there it is. But next up, we got to get him on the phone. We got Benny Blas calling in. He's been out with an injury, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, but also get his thoughts so far on the season and what he thinks might happen this week coming up in San Diego. This is Between Two Berms with Benny Blas. All right, so we got him on the phone. This is Between Two Berms with Benny Blas. What's up, Benny?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for calling in. So you got hurt right before the season started. Literally the week of is when it was announced. Huge bummer, but how is the knee? How's everything going for you?
It's actually going really, really good. I'm doing a lot more than I thought I would be doing so far. I've been out here in California doing physical therapy and stuff, and now it's time to head back to Oklahoma. I'm hopefully going to be able to get to do a little more stuff, start cycling soon, and some stuff like that. So, no, it's going really good. Just killing me not being out there racing.
I'll bet. Sure. So, with the rain, you probably looked at the forecast. You know that this week they're saying an inch of rain on Saturday. You've been doing this a long time. You know all the top riders. You've seen what they can do. Do you think at this point, is there any advantage to any one rider specifically that kind of comes to your mind this weekend for that top spot or the top 5 when it comes to the mud?
Yes, actually 2 riders. So Plessinger, very well known for mud, being a Gene CC guy. And then Barsha. It seems like every single time it rains, Barsha's good.
I agree.
So I think I might go with Barsha for the win this weekend.
Wow.
Ooh. All right.
Coming off strong
But
there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know Saturday after qualifying. I'll make my decision.
Okay, don't get too stressed out.
Speaking of that, if people want to play fantasy with you, I heard you have a group, and they can get in there and talk to you, see what you're picking. What's the group name on that?
Our group name is Fantasy Failures.
Wow. Who came up with that name?
One of my friends actually came up with it because we're expecting to do bad.
Well, that's confidence
I'm
inspiring.
expecting myself to do bad. And I don't know, it just kind of worked out perfect.
I like it. I checked. That's actually one of the bigger groups on there. So if you want to get up and join with Benny, you can. But so picking the wild card this week's 13th. What riders come to mind for you there?
I don't know. That's tough. 13th is like just on the edge of where it's like there's like certain groups of guys like I don't know. I haven't even really thought about it, to be honest.
Well, you better listen to our stats on the wild card this week then. Take away some of that stress.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, who are you going with for 13th?
Moi, I got Vince Freezy in 13th because he's already gotten 12th and 13th this year.
It's all he's been is 12th
Yeah.
or 13th.
Justin Hill's averaging right around there. So is Chad Reed. Chad Reed hasn't started in the top 10 yet.
Yeah.
Got a few options.
Let's see. I'm looking right now. So it's Vince Freeze is 13th in points.
Could
True.
be a sign.
Could be a sign.
I don't know. I picked Vince Freeze for, was it A2 that it was 11th? And I think he went 12, 11, 10 for 10th place or 12th place. Ooh. And I was just,
He's right there.
It fired me up.
So is Freeze your wild card this week?
I can't share that information yet.
Okay. Well, here's a question, because you said Barsha to win this weekend. Roxon, Tomac, and Muscan, 3 riders that everybody expected to win it by now, have not. Between those 3, who wins first?
Okay, between Roxon, Tomac, and who?
Muscan.
I picked Roxon every single weekend to win. And
he's letting you down.
Except for one, and he keeps letting me down.
Okay.
I want to say Tomac, but I think I'm going to go with Roxon.
Okay, interesting.
I like Roxon. With the 2 KTM riders that have already won, not naming Muscan, though. Me personally, I'm thinking it might be Muscan.
All right, I'm kind of with you. I think Muscan. But, hey, you never know. Roxon, he could go from, he's getting worse, could come back and take a win. You never know.
Yep. It's got a solid start average.
Yeah.
So.
All right,
Making
Benny.
me doubt my decisions now.
Yeah, that's what happens. It's fantasy.
Let me ask you a question first.
Okay.
What is your guys' total points right now in fantasy?
Christian and I combined are 200.
Yeah, we look. There's 42 people that are single-handedly beating us combined. So
Don't bring that up.
it's tougher than people think.
We're doing a combined score because Jim and Daniel from Race Day Live are actually challenging us to a bet, and they're 35 points behind us right now. So there's a lot of people who single-handedly are beating them together. So we feel good about that.
So you guys are not doing that great, is what you're saying?
We're better than average.
What are your single points?
I'd have to look. I don't know off the top of my head.
It's somewhere up there.
I am currently 30th in my group. My girlfriend, I believe, is 9th, which is just killing me. But I have a friend who is tied with me. I think I've got 128 points.
That's good.
And you're doing good. That's not bad.
And my friend also has 128 points, and he has not been on the website since Anaheim won.
It's getting those rollover picks. I like it.
And he's killing it. It's like, I think the leader of my group right now is 180.
Dang, that's good.
Somewhere around there.
By any means necessary.
Right on. Well, hey, man, we appreciate you calling in for the show. It's been good talking to you. Get that knee healed up.
Yep.
We'll see you in outdoors. So hopefully we'll see what happens this weekend if Barsha can take that win again.
Remember
We
who
will
called
see.
it.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Gosh, I hadn't even really thought about Barsha for the win, but
I considered it. I
We'll
don't know.
see.
But there you have it. That is Between Two Birds with Benny Blas. You heard it. Barsha for the win. We will see what happens. But now, you know what time it is.
time to lock him in.
Let's do it.
So, locking picks in this week. It's been harder than ever. I'm taking Tomac out of first. I'm putting Marv in there. The man's been getting solid starts.
Okay.
Everyone in the KTM clan's winning. He has to do it too. Cooper, I'm saying his solid starts keep him in second. Tomac in his safe space at third. Roxon fourth. Barsha fifth. And Tyler Bowers as my wild card. He took 12th last week.
All right. Well, I'm going to take Tomac out of your safe space. I won't talk more about that. So, because you said Tomac's not winning, that means he is going to rub it in your face.
Guaranteed.
So I've got Tomac for first. He will win eventually. I'm leaving him there until he does. Cooper Webb keeps the ball rolling second place. Ken Roxon, he improves from fifth place, goes to third. Marvin Muscan, fourth. Justin Barsha, fifth. Vince Freeze Raid, right there in 13th. Those are my picks.
I like him.
How do you feel about it?
I hope one of us gets big points.
We got to
that's
have
for
a good
sure.
week. Absolutely. But there they are. Those are our picks. What do you guys think if you're watching, if you're listening? Do we get it right? Who's going to shake it up? Because you never know. Shake and bake. All right. But now it is time to talk about why we play Fantasy SX. Also, we got to talk about that promotion code for this weekend. So here it is. This is our prize recap.
So week 5, the prizes keep getting bigger and better. Top scorer this week is going to get 2 sets of Pirelli MX 32 mid to hard terrain tires. Second place, a Bell Moto 9 MIPS helmet. Third place, a Fox LE gear set. And then other prizes going down from Fly Racing, Pro Honda, Pro Pegs, 100%, Torque One, Cherubies, and Scott.
Oh, you got me with titanium pegs. I like
Can't
it.
be mad about that.
So those are the top 10 plus 90 $10 Rocky Mountain gift
That's
cards.
right. So 100 chances to win this week, and
100
that's just
chances.
getting started.
That was the weekly prize. Remember, it doesn't matter when you sign up. If you sign up this round, if you haven't yet, you can still win a weekly prize. But the grand prize is for the season finale. First place, Race Prep KTM 450. Second place, Race Prep KTM 250. Moab trip, Red Rock Getaway. Monster Cup trip, Dunlop. Brock Glover, the Legend Ride Day. Fly Racing Gear and Casual Package. Milestone Video Game, Supercross 2 The Game Console 4K TV. Motion Pro Tools, Tuss Impact Wheel Set, Oakley Goggles, and Sunglasses.
That's huge.
That is. Now, what's the promo code for this week?
Promo code is KEEPIT100. Go on the banner on the fantasy site, click on that. It's save you an extra 10% on most 100% casual, some restrictions, but most of that casual, you're going to get an extra 10% off. Go take advantage of that.
Easy way to save some dough.
That's right.
I like it. Well, there it is. Those are the reasons that you want to play RMFantasy SX. Now remember, go to RMFantasySX.com, get signed up, free to sign up, create your account. You can join our group. Christian, what's our name?
RM Fantasy SX Rivals.
That's right. Benny Blas's group,
Fantasy Failures. Join up in there. And also make sure to hit that calendar button so you get a notification before picks lock down so you can get them in on time every week.
That's right. Now make sure to get subscribed to our YouTube channel if you're watching, or subscribe to our podcast. That way you do not miss out. These come out every Friday. We give you the stats, everything that you need to maximize your points. I am Chase.
I'm Christian.
We'll see you next week.